Have you ever hesitated to speak English because you worry about making mistakes or sounding unnatural? What if I told you fluency isn't about talking fast, but about expressing yourself clearly and confidently?
That's such a refreshing perspective. I always thought I had to speed up my words. But it turns out focusing on saying things the right way matters more. Today, let's show listeners how simple words and smart grammar can make them sound like pros, especially when talking about something as peaceful as a koi fish pond.
Exactly. By the end of this episode, you'll know how to use stative verbs, non-defining relative clauses, adverbs of frequency, the passive voice, and even mixed conditionals, all woven into natural conversation about the living canvas, the koi fish pond.
Plus, we'll share real-life stories, practical examples, and tips for creating smooth transitions between your ideas. Ready to dive in? Let's get started with why koi ponds are such a great topic for practicing your English.
You know, just sitting beside a koi pond has this magical effect on me. I can literally feel my heart rate mellow out. It's almost meditative. But when we want to describe that feeling in English, stative verbs help us add subtlety. What's your go-to way of describing those moments?
I usually say something like, the fish appear to be floating, not swimming. That little switch from are floating to appear to be really captures the peaceful, almost dreamy vibe. Stative verbs like seem, appear, belong give that extra touch of observation, don't they?
Absolutely. And shifting from basic statements to ones with nuance shows a big jump in your English skills. Rather than just, the fish are bright, you can say, the fish seem almost luminous in the sunlight. It's a tiny change, but it feels so much more sophisticated.
And honestly, listeners, next time you're describing something peaceful or beautiful, try slipping in a stative verb. It'll help your English sound more thoughtful and less robotic.
That actually reminds me. The pond itself is more than just water and fish. It's really a living canvas. And when we want to add details to our descriptions, non-defining relative clauses are a lifesaver. For instance, how would you talk about a pond you've seen recently?
I might say, the pond, which was built last summer, has already become the centerpiece of the garden. See how that little extra bit, which was built last summer, gives the sentence more depth? It's not essential, but it paints a fuller picture.
Exactly. Non-defining clauses are like sprinkle-on details. They let you share interesting facts without breaking the flow. And because they're set off with commas, they sound more natural and less like you're reading a list.
Try practicing with your own examples, even if you're just making them up. The more you use these structures, the easier it gets to sound fluent and connected in your speech.
Speaking of personal stories, I'll never forget visiting my uncle's koi pond. He takes those fish way too seriously. Once, I nearly caused a feeding frenzy just by holding a bag of food.
That's hilarious. But it's a perfect setup for using adverbs of frequency. For example, you could say, they frequently look hungry, instead of, they look hungry frequently. You see how putting the adverb before the main verb sounds much more natural?
Definitely. And it's one of those subtle signs that someone's really mastered English. Adverbs like usually, rarely, or often, they almost always go before the main verb, unless you're using to be.
So, next time you're telling a story, just slip in an adverb like always or rarely before your main verb. It's a small detail, but it takes your fluency up a notch.
Now, let's switch gears to the technical side, the actual care these ponds need. When we explain processes, passive voice is your best friend. For example, the water is circulated through a mechanical filter. Why do you think passive voice works so well here?
Because it keeps the focus on the process, not who's doing it. Instead of saying, someone filters the water, you get, the water is filtered. It sounds cleaner and more professional. And when you add phrasal verbs like clear out the algae or top off the water, your sentences become super conversational.
Exactly. And using multi-word verbs is a fast way to sound less textbook and more like a native. Try, I need to check up on the fish, or we had to clear out the filter this morning.
Listeners, if you can combine passive voice with phrasal verbs, your English will instantly feel more natural, especially when talking about processes or routines.
Funny you say that, because sometimes things go wrong, like my neighbor losing her favorite koi, Sparky. We spent ages speculating using all sorts of conditionals. Have you ever noticed how mixed conditionals can make your English sound way more advanced?
Absolutely. For example, if I had installed a motion sensor light, I would know what happened. It blends a past action with a present result, which is a really sophisticated way to express regret or hypothetical outcomes.
And it's not just about showing off grammar. Using mixed conditionals helps you sound more like a native, sharing not just what happened, but how you feel about it now.
So, next time you want to express a mix of past choices and present feelings, try out a mixed conditional. It's a powerful tool for more mature conversations.
After all these tips, the real secret is keeping your sentences connected. Short, choppy sentences make you sound robotic, but conjunctions like nevertheless, furthermore, or consequently help your ideas flow. How do you keep your English smooth?
I love building on my sentences. The pond is peaceful. Nevertheless, it requires a lot of work. Or, the fish are beautiful. And furthermore, they make the garden feel alive. It makes everything feel more like a real conversation, not just a series of facts.
Exactly. Linking your thoughts encourages listeners to follow your story and helps you sound much more confident. Try picking one conjunction and using it the next time you describe something.
And if you're practicing at home, record yourself and listen for those natural connections. It's amazing how quickly your speech will level up just by using a few of these words.
Let's wrap up with some key takeaways. First, stative verbs and non-defining relative clauses add depth and detail to your description. Second, adverbs of frequency and the passive voice help you sound more fluent and professional.
And third, mastering mixed conditionals and conjunctions is your ticket to more advanced, connected conversations. These are the real markers of confidence.
So, here's your action step. Pick any topic you love, even a koi pond, and try describing it out loud using just one of these grammar tools. Practice a little every day, and your English will start to flow naturally.
We hope you found these tips helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share your favorite topics in the comments, and keep striving for fluency. Until next time, keep practicing and enjoy the journey.